think all of our teams are just getting together right now. I think Start Slow is waiting for one more, and I think so is ReGen. While we wait, we can look at some of the map picks and see where we're going for our first map. So the side of ReGen Immortal banned out. They banned out Towers of Doom and Cursed Hollow, and then Start Slow, then Taper Off banned out Alterac Pass and Sky Temple. So we're not seeing some of those bigger maps tonight. The only really big map left in the pool, I think, is going to be Garden of Terror there, with Dragonshire kind of in there as well. It's a very rotation heavy map that the teams tend to move around a lot. But for our first map, we're going to have a pretty classic one. We're going to have Start Slow, then Taper Off, taking this to Infernal Shrine. Sorry, I realized that I had set ReGen Immortal's score to 2, and that is not correct. Welcome in, everyone. For those that aren't familiar with me, my name is Greek Fire. I am an NGS player and pretty newly minted caster. This is my first solo cast, so that's why you may notice some hiccups from time to time with scores being wrong and overlays looking a little funky. But really excited to be in here with everyone tonight and get these matches going. I think this is going to be a pretty exciting matchup. I've got a good amount of familiarity with Start Slow, then Taper Off. They're always a lot of fun to watch. And of course, ReGen Immortal also plays in Div B East with my team. Teams are getting together. I see 5 members of Start Slow, then Taper Off together, and then it sounds like ReGen Immortal's getting together, so we're going to be kicking things off soon. And we are in the lobby now, so we'll be getting going pretty shortly. So like I said, we have the map picked by Start Slow Then Taper Off. We're going to be going to Infernal Shrines first, a pretty classic map. You know, you hear some of the more seasoned casters saying they're tired of casting it, and I can't join them in saying that because I'm so new to this. We've got the first ready out from one of the teams, so it looks like we'll be getting going shortly, and we'll be into our Infernal Shrines draft. And we are getting ready to go into our first map here. So Infernal Shrines is starting up for these teams. We've got in the blue ReGen Immortal, and in the red is Start Slow Then Taper Off. This is a decent sized map with some pretty important team fighting points. So we'll see how teams want to play that. There are teams that will opt to kind of ignore earlier shrines and kind of play the map a little bit more. They might take a Falstad, a Sylvanas, something that can really have a lot of map presence, or they might just go really heavy into the fight, as we see the Anduin as the first ban from ReGen Immortal. Anduin as first ban makes sense. He's a hero who can kind of help you get out of a sticky situation. He can do that every 70 seconds or so. And then Stukov is going to be the ban from the side of Start Slow. So we're seeing a lot of focus on kind of those top pick healers. Wouldn't be too surprised if we saw healers get picked up early then, unless one of these teams is going to pull out kind of a less commonly seen healer, which is always nice. We like to see our Tyrandos, our Malfurions. Those are always fun. And then Hogger is going to be the second ban. It's one that Zero Day Attack likes to play, and it's a good one on this map. If you have Hogger spinning on the shrine, you can kind of get some free real estate, which is always good. Final ban from Start Slow is going to be Junkrat, another annoying hero that people don't really like to deal with. He can stand on one side of the map and shoot you from it, regardless of where you are. And then we see Johanna as the first pick. She's been a pretty stable tank pick. I think across divisions, I don't have any math to back that up, but then a Brightwing and Blaze to come out from start slow and taper off. Brightwing a global and a pretty consistent healer. Kind of like I said, we're seeing some of those healer pickups early, so curious to see how the draft starts to unfold from the side of ReGen Immortal. We get a Tychus, and then we get their healer in the Rhaegar. So start slow, then taper off hasn't shown a ton of what their draft is going to be doing. They've just got this Brightwing and this Blaze so far, and we see 1 damage come out from the side of ReGen Immortal so far. A third ban Sylvanas from start slow, then taper off, so that's one that can be really punishing if ReGen Immortal were to get the Shrine, get the Punisher going, and then have Sylvanas shut down forts. They could be in a pretty sticky situation from the early game on. And then we're going to see a Garrosh ban from the side of ReGen Immortal. That's an interesting one. I think I get it. Strong hero, but not one that I know the side of start slow then taper off to play, as we see both of their damage dealers come out in Vala and Jaina. So the last thing we'll be seeing from them is going to be their tank. Real Big Dill playing the Vala and Arlu playing the Jaina. Last 2 picks from the side of ReGen Immortal now. We need an offlaner. Ooh, and we're going to get a Gazlo and a Maiev. So that's a lot of frontline. They've basically got 4 melee heroes. Maiev can displace and kind of help pick a hero on the other side, or just kind of keep people clumped up and go for big damage with the Q resets. Maiev is a super fun hero to play. Not one that I play well, but one that I think is a ton of fun. And then we're going to see a Nubarek from the side of start slow then taper off, a big engage tank. So if he can go in and lock someone down, it should be easy for Arlu to just kind of drop the damage on there. But if the fights go longer, a Nubarek can start to struggle. He doesn't have the biggest health pool, and Tychus can really shred him down because he's most accustomed to dealing with mages. So we are going to be moving into Infernal Shrines here, loading into the game. Infernal Shrines is our first map, and we're going to get things going here in just a second. Alright, and we are into our first game on Infernal Shrines. In the blue, we have ReGen Immortal with Karama playing Rhaegar, Eriker playing Tychus, Rift on that Maiev, Johanna being played by Austin, and Gingimex playing Gazlo. And then on the right-hand side, we have Start Slow Then Taper Off with Zero Day Attack playing Blaze, Arlu playing Jaina, Real Big Dill on the Vala, Brightwing being played by Fenrir, and Xenochrist playing the Anubarak. Let's see what we've got for talents. Click Ball is still thinking. We don't know if we'll see the auto attack from her, and we do, which can be a little bit scary into both the double blinds and kind of the aggression of Maiev. And we see a stun come out from Blaze and from Anubarak. Tychus taking a lot of damage. The cleanse came out from Rhaegar. Maiev does the bulk of the wardens to get out, and it looks like everyone should be walking away relatively unscathed, with Vala starting to get a couple of those stacks. Anubarak goes in again, but he's a little bit isolated. Vala's taking a lot of damage. She could get killed by the the Johanna flashlight. It looks like Fenrir is the one who's in the most trouble, and he's actually going to go down, and that's first blood to the side of ReGen Immortal as teams start to settle into their rotations. ReGen getting down to the bottom lane first, so Start Slow is going to miss a little bit of experience. But they're getting to it now, and Bala gets the phase shift from right wing. We have another stun come out from Nubarak, but it's onto Johanna, who can just comfortably walk away. We are starting to see, once level 10s come around, I think we'll see a bit of that kind of wombo potential from the side of ReGen Immortal. They've got Maiev, who can keep everyone in one place or keep one person kind of cocooned in her containment disc. And then you've got the Johanna Blessed Shield and the Gazlo bomb that can have a lot of lockdown, if not a lot of time. So interesting to see how they're able to coordinate that as level 10s come. But for now, we're just focused on some camps in the early game. We've got Start Slow taking both the bottom and their own camp, moving pretty quickly on those, which is something they can do with Jaina. Looks like we've got Blaze rotating between top and mid, while Gazla is looking to get a little bit of structure damage onto these towers. Giving a little love to the offlaners there. Gazla is another hero that I think is a ton of fun, but one that we don't see super often, so really excited to see how they play around the shrine there. Things are a little calm for now, not a ton going on the map. Our offlaners are going to continue kind of whacking at each other, but Blaze is getting a little bit low on mana. We do see the side of ReGen starting this top camp a little bit before Start Slow, so if Start Slow isn't able to start working on that soon, they're not going to have it for the objective. Not necessarily the most harmful thing for this top objective, but it can buy you a little bit of vision. So if you've got the vision kind of out here in the further part of this lane, you know it's safer to step up. But they are going to get to their camp. They're just going to be a couple seconds behind on that objective. And they've got right wing down here, kind of facing off against the Maya, making sure they're all getting the soak. Maya checking to see if she's in any danger from anyone else, but she's just got right wing down here. Right wing kind of smartly backing up before going for the Z so she doesn't get tethered by the Maiev, and you see Start Slow, since they've got 5 members up here to 4, they're gonna start fighting, and they've already given about half the shrine though. They gave up a lot of time. A really nice cleanse out from Rhaegar, but Johanna's in a little bit of trouble here. Polymorph out onto Tychus, and they are going to be able to push back the side of ReGen Immortal as Thala jumps in and finds the Gazlo kill. So that's going to be first blood for the side of Start Slow, and they can start to work on this shrine a little bit. We have had Maiev come up here, so it's 4-on-4 here as Gazlo comes up. Johanna goes into the backline at the same time as the Nubarak and gets a really big condemn. And the Nubarak's getting a little bit low. Is Brighton going to get the phase shift in time? It looks like it, as Arlu and Real Big Dill are kind of still focused up here with Blaze, and they're going to get the first finisher of the game. So John Cena is headed towards the top lane of ReGen Immortal. Blaze is going to head off to the mid lane to do a little bit more soaking, keep them kind of up in experience. They are about even right now. And Start Slow is going to focus on this. Looks like they're just going to get this front wall, and hopefully they're happy with that and they don't overstay their welcome. And you see Maiev has pulled off to kind of match Blaze in this double soak. It's time for Start Slow to start heading down and maybe grab some of these camps, maybe to look for that bottom camp again. Looks like they're going to use the advantage of having Blaze here to go for this camp that's on the side of ReGen Immortal, but they're not going to walk into that and walk into a trap. Nubarak goes in on Maiev. She's got the blink away. Maiev is a pretty mobile hero. She can be kind of hard to catch out if she's paying attention. But Start Slow doing a good job of managing these camps. It looks like, ReGen is once again going to see that they're here, but with Tychus in the mid lane, they probably don't want to go in on that. So Start Slow is going to pick up all 3 of these siege camps. Jaina pretty good at doing that. as we continue to see Blaze and Gazlo duking it out up here. Blaze putting a little bit more damage onto Gazlo. Gazlo doing a good job of getting damage onto those front walls. They've both got gates down up here, so it's pretty even as we see level 10s coming in for the teams. One thing that is a little rough for Blaze is he's low on mana once again. Level 10 first for the side of Start Slow, then Taper Off. We've got Cocoon for the Anubarak, Emerald Wind for the Brightwing, Rain of Vengeance from Vala, Summon Water Elemental for Jaina, and it looks like Blaze is holding, but I'm not sure I see a world where this isn't Bunker, and there it is. Over on the side of ReGen Immortal for the level 10s, we have the Ancestral Healing, the Commandeer Odin, Containment Disc, so not the Warden's Cage, Blessed Shield, and Gazlo is holding. I actually don't think Robo-Goblin is a terrible talent. I think it's a pretty fun talent. But I think in this setup, you kind of want the Gravel Bomb. And we see Cocoon come out onto Tychus in the mid lane here. Let's see if they're able to do anything about it. Rhaegar fights in instead of going for the immediate cleanse, but they're both able to get out. Vala getting that first stack on the auto attack build. And it looks like we've got a possible aggressive approach onto this camp here. Blaze is a little bit deep. Containment Disc comes out from Maiev and misses. Gazlo gets gone onto an Anub. The Ancestral comes out. Is Gazlo going to turn around and throw that bomb or not? As Johanna goes down, there goes the Gazlo bomb, and it is going to find Jaina. So 1-for-1 so far in this engage. As I say that, Maiev goes down. And looks like we're going to be getting ready for this second objective. Start Slow doesn't want to go in on this camp. I hope they are going to go start their own. I see a help me ping, so it looks like that's what they're about to do. Objective has started while both teams are still getting camps, and Jaina's on her way back, and Start Slow is going to get a little bit of an advantage. Blaze has really good clear onto the objective here, but it looks like there's a little bit more of a unified front from the side of ReGen. Blaze lands a big stone onto 3. Rhaegar is able to cleanse the Tychus, who starts shredding into Blaze, and there goes the Blessed Shield from Johanna, and Jaina's going to go down for Maiev again, but Gazlo's taking a lot of damage back here. Commandeer Odin comes out to kind of continue to get Shrine damage as the Water Elemental takes out Gazlo. You do have to focus that down. It's not always great if you ignore that. It can do a lot of damage. 23 to 27 on the Shrine, slightly favoring Start Slow than Taper Off. Looks like they're doing a little bit more fighting than they are shrine clearing, as it's become even, and Vala was getting pressured back by the Johanna. We saw Cocoon come out, and the fight's been a little bit scattered, but it looks like they're going to be able to take the Shrine on the side of ReGen Immortal, and Xenocrisis is taking a lot of damage. He is going to go down. This could be rough, kind of getting... Oh, as Fenrir takes a lot of damage too and does go down. The Bunker not able to save him. Now they do take out Maiev and Rhaegar, so it's a 2-for-2 trade as the Frozen Punisher comes out. A pretty worthwhile trade for the side of Start Slow then Taper Off, because the Frozen Punisher is one that you want to be able to push with, and without Rhaegar and Maiev, they can't do that as much. But still to be seen if they're going to lose this fort. Tychus and Johanna doing what they can to it as Gazlo starts to go for some of the camps. And Tychus gets the grenade to finish off that fort, so the first and second structures of the game have gone to the side of ReGen Immortal. Despite the lead-in kills for Start Slow then Taper Off. So you see them starting in on their camp. Maiev and Johanna are in a decent position to walk into this as they finish their own camp and send the rest of the team. Cocoon goes out onto Maiev, but it looks like Real Big Dill is in trouble here. You don't want to lose any of those auto attack stacks for Vala. Arlu comes in from the bottom and pops the Water Elemental, getting a nice amount of shield, but Real Big Dill is really low. And Fenrir doesn't have the Blink Heal to kind of top him back off with a huge degree of speed, so they are going to have to walk away and give that camp. They did get Odin out, but I think with the timing of the objective going down, it should be back up by the time objective is up. Johanna taking a lot of damage, but Maiev is coming in here, and she's She could go for a big tether, but with Johanna going down, it's a little bit scary for her. Vault of the Wardens gets her free from the Anubarak stuns. Start slow, looks to do a little bit of pushing onto this lane while Vala clears out the camp. Vala is coming in here, starts slow then taper off, wants to do a little bit of pushing here, but she can be poked by the Gazlo turrets, and Johanna is on her way back. Maev's also gone back to double soaking, so Start Slow is losing a little bit of the experience advantage they have from being up in kills. They are going to find their level 16s first, but I think we'll see even talent here by the time the next objective comes up. There's the stuns out from Anubarak, the roots out from Jaina using that level 16. Anubarak, the only one caught in the Grabo bomb as the cocoon comes out onto Tychus. But it looks like everyone's going to walk away, so we used a couple important buttons a little bit before the objective comes up. Maiev gets stunned by Anubarak, and these teams are continuing to fight it out a lot. Blaze in the back will find 2 with the stun, but then he'll get put in the containment disc by Maiev. Real Big Dill a little bit split and a little bit low, with the Gazlo bomb healing for the Johanna, who is getting good heals from that level 16 blind talent. And Johanna is going to go down again. I think that's her third death, as Tychus is getting low on the Odin, and they are going to find a second kill. Anubarak with another big stun, but Maiev is going to look for the Jaina, who's going to use that ice block from the baseline quest that she's finished out. So it looks like Start Slow is going to take some of this real estate and move on to the sport. Maiev finding some good damage with multiple Fan of Knives. She's just going to back up, and it looks like this could be where they find the first kill on a Real Big Dill, who's going to just sneak away thanks to that Rain of Vengeance. Objective is up and available. Real Big Dill's going to want to be careful here. He does have the heal on level 13. He's got Brightwing next to him. I think he should be able to top up from this one as the Shrine gets started for the side of Start Slow. They did not get their top camp out, so with the fact that they don't have their fort here, and ReGen Immortal does, that could do a good amount of pushing, but they are already halfway done with this objective. They may think about sending one up, and it looks like Maiev actually wants to go for their camp, so they're going to have 2 camps pushing. They've kind of resigned themselves to not getting this objective as an Arcane Punisher comes out for the side of Start Slow and taper off. I imagine once they see this camp being grabbed by Maiev and Gazlo, they're going to want to send someone back, and there goes Blaze right now in his way to defend that pretty big wave, and Gazlo and Maiev make their way back to defend here at the keep. Punisher pulled over the wall here. Gazlo just throwing out some bombs to do some zoning. Commandeer Odin also out. Oops. Also out to do a little bit of damage onto this and have some really good range. Keep you safe from the engage range of Anubarak. And Vala is just looking to put damage onto this keep. And Start Slow is saying it's time to start walking away. We did some good damage, but we don't want to overstay our welcome as both of the kind of isolation tactics from the teams come out. Anubarak gets contained, and then Brightwing actually goes down to the Gazlo while trying to save the Anubarak. Looks like ReGen wants to chase in on this a little bit, but they're not going to be able to as Anubarak burrows away. Blaze has cleared out that top lane and is kind of keeping it pushed up as ReGen takes their numbers advantage to just start to gather some camps. A good back and forth in this game. ReGen has kind of led in structures, but both teams have had their times where they're kind of running them out. Along the lines of what we'd expect from 2 teams that are pretty strongly positioned in their division. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Start Slow to not drop their first map this game and keep up their good streak. We see Start Slow going up here to look for Gazlo, while I think I imagine once ReGen saw them, they might They might look to do some pushing, and the Blaze Gun comes out onto the Gazlo, and they're going to find the kill and equalize the pressure on this fort. I imagine they'll get it and then walk off before ReGen can even show up. Tychus throws a grenade, but he's not able to find anyone with it. He does get cocooned by an Uberak, who goes into the burrow but misses. Johanna throws out the Flesh Shield, Brightwing with the Emerald Win, everyone pressing the R button, and we are going to find a kill onto Bala. Maieva's got a lot of free reign in the backline there, as she finds Tether onto 2 more and takes down the Jaina with Brightwing to follow. So what started as a good pick onto the Gazlo ended with start slow overstaying a little bit or over chasing after they get that fort, and it's going to be a 1 gank for 4 deaths, and ReGen Immortal finding their level 20s. They've got the Farseer's Blessing, the upgrade, the big red button on the Odin, the Shadow Orb, which is going to reset the Spirit of Vengeance. That's the E talent for Maiev. Radiating Faith from Johanna for a little bit of additional stun, and then Bomb Toss for Gazlo, which is going to give him even more zone control once the shrines come up. And they're gonna find this keep while the members of Start Slow Then Taper Off are still coming up, and that's gonna benefit them because this shrine we're gonna have a Frozen Punisher coming in through the top lane if ReGen Immortal is able to secure the objective. Level 20s have come in on the side of Start Slow Then Taper Off. We've got the Fortified Bunker from Blaze, the Winter Mute from Jaina, Farflight Quiver from Bala, the Intensive Winds from Brightwing, and Rewind from Nubarak. So they're going to look to lock someone down and blow them up, and they've always got their kind of getting the chopper moment from Blaze with the Fortified Bunker. ReGen Immortal starting up the Nubarak taking a lot of damage in the back here. Brightwing does need to Xeon him, but they're not going to find it before Gazlo finds the kill, and this is going to be going a little south for the side of Start Slow. Jaina does find some big roots here, and Blaze finds a stun, but this is just going to kind of aid them in walking away. You don't want to get tethered and pulled back into this team because they can burn you down pretty quickly, and with 20 of the shrine minions already taken, Start Slow is going to want to start preparing to defend. I don't know if that means they want to grab this camp and the mid camp, and then kind of get back and start to defend out here, but they are going to want to start to make some moves. Johanna is looking for them with Maiev, but it's just the 2 of them so far. Brightwing's got that Intensive Wind, so a 5-second cooldown. Now they do find the kill onto Johanna. I was worried they were going to do a little bit of overstaying there, as I saw Rhaegar coming in, but they are going to find the Johanna. That's going to be really helpful. Bala gets jumped on. That's really scary. Brightwing is using Z, so can't cleanse that, and Bala goes down. More really big roots coming out from Arlu on the Jaina. Those are really helping control the fights. Tychus goes down, but so does Brightwing and Arlu. Zero-day attack pops the bunker, but it's going to be tough for him to get out of here. There's been a lot of zone control from those Gazlo bombs. As we see ReGen Immortal marching towards the core of Start Slow Then Taper Off. This could be the final notes on their win streak, but we'll have to see if they don't hold out here. If they're able to bring it back in Game 2, it would give us a full series. Nubarak going down. The Punisher looks at the Blaze instead of the core, and the members of ReGen Immortal are taking down this core slowly but surely. Blaze just trying to stay at the KDA here. As the game does go over to ReGen Immortal. GG's and well played. My game froze for a little bit there, but it looks like we're back on track. And we can take a look at some of these stats. 15 kills to 12. Now, Start Slow Then Taper Off was ahead in kills for a lot of that game, but they had those kind of multiple deaths at the end there. And then ReGen Immortal was able to kind of bring it back. Lower damage on the side of ReGen Immortal overall, but the Tychus was just kind of shredding in, and they had some pretty high damage heroes in Tychus, Maiev, and Gazlo, with even Johanna doing 40,000, so pretty solid there. Jaina top damage on the side of Start Slow, Then Taper Off. Some really big roots using the level 7 Ice Lows alongside the level 16 Numbing Blast to get some kind of repeated roots there. So let's go ahead and update our maps. We've got ReGen Immortal winning that first one there. And we are going to take a quick break while the teams get that second map ready to go. We'll see you soon. All right, we are back, and we are going to be going to Battlefield of Eternity, map being picked by the side of ReGen Immortal. Another map that I really like. Kind of competing priorities of needing to have a team that can zone out and defend your own Immortal while being able to race the other team's Immortal. I'm going to let the teams know that I'm ready to go whenever, as we start to see the readies coming out. So this is where we'll see if Start Slow Then Taper Off can prove that they wanted to keep that win streak alive. While we wait for Game 2 to get started, I just want to say thank you for the follows from Oppie, Chauncey, and Classic. I appreciate it. I am new to this and am still figuring things out, so I appreciate the early support. You're right, I do have to update the score. See, I'm new to this. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen here. All right, we've got our scores updated now. So ReGen is up 1 in this best of 3 series. We do see a ready coming out from the side of Start Slow, so we'll be getting into this map 2 draft. relatively shortly. All right, we are in our Battlefield of Eternity draft. The first pick is going to go over to the side of Start Slow, Then Taper Off, ReGen Immortal being the team that chose to go to this map. So we'll have to see how these teams want to prioritize their drafts. Are they going to change around anything, or is ReGen going to take a if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach? Stukov, once again, the first ban from Start Slow, Then Taper Off. Definitely understand not wanting to deal with that hero who can just kind of stop you from playing the game if you don't have a proper response to get him out of his silence. Then you can get kind of messed up by that silence puddle. And Anduin, once again, the first ban from the side of ReGen Immortal. So once again, focusing on those healers. Anduin, another one that he can kind of ruin the fun. If you have some really good lockdown, he can just kind of press the D button and get him out. And Vala is going to be the second ban from Start Slow, Then Taper Off. That's a really good race hero. That could have gone over to the side of ReGen Immortal, and it means that Start Slow is saying that they're not going to first pick that Vala. They did pick it relatively early. I don't know, I guess they picked it after the third ban last game, but they're saying we don't want it this time, and then Johanna is going to be the ban from the side of ReGen Immortal, as our first pick is about to come out from Start Slow, Then Taper Off. Xenochrist is going to pick up the Anubarak again. Anubarak is a really consistent tank, has really good lockdown, and we saw, particularly with the Blaze, a lot of good coordination on those stuns. So curious to see if they're going to look to make that pairing again, or if they're just going to have an Anubarak going in without the aid of that other VP frontliner. He's not going to have the aid of Blaze, as Jinji Mex picks up the Blaze and Eric here picks up the Li Ming. So that's a hero that can do a good amount of poke onto the objective. It's decent race, but it means the other team's going to have to choose between sacrificing their own health and sacrificing the Immortal's health if they're trying to stop Li Ming from poking out. We see both damage dealers picked up by the side of Start Slow, Zul'jin and Orphea. Fenrir, a known Orphea enjoyer. And then we're going to see Rhaegar banned from the side of ReGen Immortal. I apologize for the pause. I realized I have some chat settings to work out, it looks like. My Nightbot doesn't like when people get excited, which is a bummer. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Chauncey. I'm thinking we see a Urel here. Something we've seen a good amount of from Start Slow, a hero that Zero Day really likes, and does give additional support to the Anubarak. They can both kind of hop in, as Brightwing is going to be the final ban. So a lot of healers banned out and no healers picked up. So I imagine we'll see that picked up now from the side of ReGen Immortal, so that they can pick the one they want of what remains and not have to compete with start slow. So we see Garrosh and Sylvanas coming out. So they haven't picked up a healer, which isn't necessarily the worst thing. There's still a good number of options, but it means that they're going to be left with whatever start slow doesn't pick here. Garrosh can be a scary tank on this map as well. There's a lot of shadows for him to come out of, those steam vents and all of the areas around the Immortal where he can throw you into the Immortal stuff and lock you down. And so we see Malfurion and Yrel, like we were talking about earlier, coming out from the side of start slow. I like the Malfurion. It's a healer that I also like a lot. If he kind of plays like a ghost and isn't seen by the enemy team, he can do a lot of healing. And he can also support the Nubarak and the Yrel in that lockdown that Orpheo really needs to get the damage out. And we're gonna hopefully see a healer pick up here from ReGen Immortal, or we'll get a little bit of spice and we won't see anything. So I'm kind of curious what they're thinking, and they're going to go for the Uther. So get the Garrosh throw into an Uther stun and just try and lock someone down. That can be a relatively scary combo. And Uther good into the burst that Orpheo is gonna throw out by providing that armor. But if these fights go longer, Uther can run out of mana, and then essentially just have to become a meat shield so he can get his ghost form going. So we are going to be loading in here to Battlefield of Eternity for Game 2. Map once again picked by ReGen Immortal. And we're going to see if Start Slow Then Taper Off can bring this back, or if we're going to have a 2-0 on our hands. So on the left side, we have Uther being played by Karama for the side of ReGen Immortal. Gingimex is going to be playing the Blaze, Li Ming to be played by Eric here, Sylvanas played by Rift, and Austin is going to be playing the Garrosh. And then on the side of Start Slow Then Taper Off, we have Yrel being played by Zero Day Attack, Malfurion played by Arlu, Zul'jin being played by Real Big Dill, Orphea being played by Fenrir, and Xenochrist is on the Anubarak once again, as our teams get into this kind of bottom lane scuffle here. Garrosh in this bush, Anubarak should be looking to scout him out, as Real Big Dill does find him, thankfully before he gets stunned and thrown. Zul'jin going into the Greedus Axe talents, those can be good because they provide you a little bit of extra race against the Immortal, and at level 16 you can get Ignoring Armor and percent damage, which I think is going to be really strong into Garrosh, who is taking a lot of damage, but he finds the stun onto 2. Can he find the throw into Real Big Dill? He does not. Real Big Dill walking away there. And reset as teams look to just clear these waves. Anubarak hiding out in one little corner, Garrosh in another, mounted, running at Zul'jin, who's gonna take a good amount of damage, but Anubarak comes in to kind of peel people off, as Karama is gonna be the first to go down, first blood, over to the side of Start Slow Then Taper Off, as Uther goes for the ghost healing. One second. Aha! We do see Yrel up here on this camp, but Sylvanas has gone up, so Yrel may end up needing to leave this, but she's 2v1. We don't want to see her go down this early, as the bottom camp does get picked up. Yrel's staying to fight this, I think a little bit too long. Sylvanas is going to use the E in, and Yrel is going to go down, so stayed a little bit too long fighting over that camp. I liked the idea of staying while the Sylvanas was there and maybe going for it, but not staying quite that long. Bottom camp was picked up by the side of Star Slow, and Anubarak thrown over the gate by the Garrosh. He's a bug who goes underground and doesn't quite care. Sylvanas has stayed up to to turn off the towers here and get a little bit of damage, and they've taken the entire front wall. Start Slow hasn't quite gotten either of these towers. So a pretty good trade for the side of ReGen Immortal. Teams headed to camps to get those out before the Immortal comes up. We can kind of start having those moving through lanes. Morel just cleaning up the last of this camp as Nubarak just sits here and kind of bothers Li Ming, but isn't going to be able to do a ton of damage without the team there for some damage and some additional lockdown. Start Slow, a little unsure who's going to grab the camp as Arlu does pick it up. And ReGen Immortal moves right to this Immortal for the race. They don't necessarily have the fastest racing heroes, but they did get here early, and Blaze can do a decent amount of it actually. Uther stuns Yrel to stop the Righteous Hammer. As Start Slow is in a position where they kind of have to run towards the team and defend this Immortal while someone goes back and does some racing. But it looks like all 5 of them are here as Blaze is clearing out the camp. Yrel is going to put the hammer onto Li Ming and just kind of continue to harass back here. A little bit more damage coming out from the Orthia, but they're still all 5 here, so they're not actually accomplishing a ton as this bottom camp is still pushing, and Yrel's finally coming to deal with this, but it's going to leave them at 4v5 here, really 3v5 as ReGen Immortal moves in on this, and Zul'jin's just going to be back there getting as much damage off of the shield as they can. 0-day attack moving back in after cleaning up that camp. Big stun onto Uther, but Yrel does get thrown out. Blaze on the backside is able to stun the Malfurion and the Orthia as Uther does go down once again. 2 deaths onto him, just making sure he gets that good trait value. Rift gets the Haunting Wave away, and Zul'jin did an okay job getting some of that shield off the Immortal, but they're still going to have to deal with this in the bot lane. Structure's pretty favorable to the side of ReGen Immortal in the top lane, but relatively even. A little bit more damage to the side of Start Slow to taper off. Nubarak getting thrown by Garrosh does seem to have the body check at level 1. You saw the minus health there. Takes a good amount of damage, but Arlu's just going to slowly heal him up with that Malfurion. Real big deal getting stunned by the Immortal. Arlu is going to throw out the cleanse so that Garrosh can walk up and get the toss. Orthia completes that level 1 quest, getting the Dread onto 3 heroes there. There's going to be a little bit of extra damage, maybe helpful in getting the lockdown, a little bit of extra burst through the armor that Uther provides in the healing. I don't think they see the Garrosh here. They know that Li Ming's here, but Garrosh is going to have to come back here to help the team, so the backline isn't going to be under threat. Root comes out from Malfurion, and Garrosh goes for the throw onto Xenochrist, who should still have the Burrow charge to walk away if he needs it. But it looks like all these teams are going to say, okay, we had our scuffle and we can walk away as Nubarak goes back in. If he does get thrown this time, it's not going to be as friendly. Orthia finds a lot of damage onto the Garrosh, but doesn't quite find the kill. They are going to have to walk away. So I'd love to see Start Slow either take this tower, or say, okay, you guys had to back up, we can grab this camp like we wanted to. And they do find the tower. Yrel was able to pick up this top camp this time. Without Sylvanas there, Blaze wasn't able to fight her off. A root comes out onto Uther with a lot of damage from Orthia behind it. Now that quest is completed, it's really good for Fenrir. Arlu getting looked at by Garrosh is a little bit scary. Malfurion is not known for being able to take that many hits. Interesting, I didn't see this at first, but we don't have the sleep roots on Arlu. We actually have the Vengeful roots, the Broccoli quest. I wonder if the sleep and the kind of like quarter-second micro-stun that you get from it would be giving them the extra damage for Zul'jin to get another hit in, for Orthia to get the hits in. And with the Nubarak low, and I think Malfurion had to go back for some mana, it does mean that ReGen Immortal is going to be able to pick up this camp. Teams are moving towards level 10. We see it at the top here. They should hit at about the same time. Yrel's also going to need to back for mana here. Level 10 coming in first from the side of ReGen Immortal. We'll go over those level 10s in just a second. You've got the Divine Shield from Uther as Pike breaks out here. We see a stun onto Garrosh, the Crushing Jaws from Orphea. Rama is going to have to pop that Divine Shield that I just mentioned to get themselves away. Cocoon does come out onto Garrosh in the back here. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to walk away. It does not look like he's going to be able to walk away. So we have the Divine Shield from Uther, the Bunker Drop from Blaze, Disintegrate from the Li Ming, which should be able to help them get the Cocoon out. The Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas and the Warlord's Challenge from Garrosh. On the side of Starkslove and Dave Rock, you have Ardent Defender from Yrel. Saw that used in this little engagement in the mid here. Tranquility from Malfurion, Crushing Jaws from Orphea, providing extra lockdown. Kazdingo for the Zul'jin, and Cocoon from the Anubarak. Now, while Starkslove has been able to get more damage on the Immortal, they did lose their fort to this camp that they haven't addressed, so they haven't necessarily been addressing things that are going on in their lanes as much, but they are going to have the faster race with that Q build that I mentioned from Zul'jin. Bonus damage, not being removed by basic attacks, and good on Arlu grabbing that camp, using the broccoli, so big broccoli value this game. As Immortal is getting ready to spawn into the top lane here. Immortal moving in here while the offlaners continue their back and forth, getting the shield off of this pretty quickly. While Zul'jin is looking to start to do some damage. Cocoon comes out onto Uther, but as I mentioned, that Disintegrate is going to be able to get rid of it real fast. Anubarak being thrown and silenced, and that Wailing Arrow is going to be a big part of making sure that Anubarak can't. Wow! Garrosh down to like 19 health at the lowest, I think, was what we saw. Making sure that Anubarak can't just E out when Garrosh throws him. Yrel has come out, and Uther is going to go down. I couldn't actually see. I imagine he went down to the Grievous Throw there. Yrel just keeping Blaze off here as the 4v4 goes on. Whacks him away. Broccoli chases after Garrosh, and the team is going to head to this camp knowing that ReGen Immortal doesn't have a healer, so they're not as likely to walk in on this as ReGen Immortal picks up their Bruiser camp that didn't quite go out during the last objective. Level 13 advantage to the side of Starkslove, then taper off. As things are relatively even on the map, we've seen one fort go down for each team, and a little bit of damage to this front wall on the keep side. Looks like teams are starting to think about this camp, but not all of Starkslove is here yet. Yrel is still pushing up the top. Blaze is trying to back, that gets forced off by the Anubarak. And Anubarak getting an early E away before the Garrosh Tosh to get away from a lot of that stun value. And no one point out the fact that I said Garrosh Tosh, please. Immortal's going to be spawning again. There's really nothing for these teams to do on the map. They're even talent here, so I don't want to see a ton of fighting unless it's something like Garrosh getting a pick. Anubarak stunning the Garrosh and another stack of the Broccoli, so big damage from Broccoli away. Yrel harassing the Sylvanas a little bit, with Garrosh coming to say, you know, get away from my damage. And Zul'jin is going to start working this Immortal. Yrel and Anubarak just a really big wall as a big Crushing Jaws comes out. Uther is once again going to have to use the Divine Shield on himself as Garrosh is once again getting low. Not quite as low as last time, getting himself some healing. Anubarak with another stun. Broccoli and the Dread is going to find both Garrosh and Orphea. Blaze is going to bunker up. Sylvanas is also getting really low back here. Zero Day Attack acting like he's going to go jump in. I guess if Li Ming continues chasing here, there's potential for it. Arlu is sneaking away here, and Zul'jin and Orphea are going to go back to the objective. 30 seconds until their camp comes up, so maybe there's a chance that they get it during halftime, or they kind of tag it again before the objective comes up. They do have to move into the aggressive side as Uther and Garrosh are coming back up. 6 kills to 2 and almost a full level lead from the side of Start Slow, then Taper Off. And Zul'jin just continuing to work this Immortal. Blaze stun and Garrosh off onto the Anubarak, who's getting taunted and stunned and blown up by the Li Ming. The Wailing Arrow came out as well, I think, once again stopping. And Yrel doesn't have the ult, so Yrel's gonna go down here. Meaning this push is gonna be a little bit weaker. I think you can send 4 to defend from the side of ReGen Immortal and have Blaze clear out this big wave. It's actually starting to put some damage onto the keep. So Start Slow secured the Immortal, but sort of at what cost? It does have a big enough shield that maybe we do see it take down the fort. And wow, that is going down fast. It looks like it is going to be able to take down the fort, so Start Slow is going to have both a level 16 Palantir advantage as well as a structure advantage moving into the next part of the game. Of course, level 16 fast approaching for the side of ReGen Immortal. Overall, continuing to see a pretty good matchup for these teams. Pretty evenly matched. Of course, we saw the late game start to go to the side of ReGen Immortal last game as Gingimex is taking a lot of damage. He's going to bunker up, and Garrosh is here. Malfurion taking a lot of damage, but he's going to pop the Tranquility. He's got the burst heals that you get from the Moonlit Harmony. Just kind of endless aggression coming out from the side of Start Slow, then Taper Off, and we do see the Armor Shred talent from Zul'jin at level 16 that I mentioned. It's going to help him get damage onto the Garrosh as Sylvanas is taking a lot of damage and is going to go down here. Yrel pops the ult and is at full health. And it looks like they're going to be able to pressure onto this keep if they want to. They've got 2 down. And that's going to be a really helpful advantage for them moving into the next objective phase if they can take out the keep, because they've still got this fort back here. So they're going to have constant catapult pressure moving into the lane. As they do take it down and they can kind of move towards some of these camps. Maybe they move towards this bruiser camp if they move this 5. Yrel once again hanging out in this bush. I'm not sure if this tower gave vision of her in and out of this bush. Doesn't matter because the camp is going to be grabbed quickly. And Start Slow starting to build some momentum. It's 8 kills to 4. There's been back and forth this game, but they've kind of controlled things from, I'd say, level 13-ish on. But all 5 back on the map for the side of ReGen Immortal as the root comes out from Malfurion. Garrosh actually taking a good amount of damage from the broccoli. 28 stacks on that. It's almost 200 bonus damage. Yeah, almost 200 bonus damage. Big stun onto Blaze and the Garrosh. Garrosh is taking so much damage from the armor shredding of this Zul'jin. The Divine Shield has to come out to save him. The Wailing Arrow does kind of come out, but it's only going to find Orphea. Real big deal taking pressure from the Blaze and the Sylvanas down here, but I think he's going to be fine. As we see Li Ming taking damage, there's continued pressure on the 0-day attack, but Zul'jin did find the kill onto Blaze. I'm not sure if I paid close enough attention in the other Start Slow and Taper Off games I've seen to know if Real Big Bill is kind of usually going to take this Bone Slicer build, the Grievous Axe build, but it's a really good pickup into the Garrosh because after 16, his kind of biggest survivability asset, the armor, is a little bit moot. As we see Race coming out onto the Immortals, Yrel and Anubarak are just kind of going to zone out the other team. Arlu as well, since he doesn't really do a ton to the Immortal, so as long as he doesn't get caught out here, he's pretty safe to be here. 0-day attack playing around the backline, but still has the ult as we see Zul'jin and Orphea do take down that Immortal. And it's going to move into the bottom lane as they continue to have pressure in the top lane. You'll see a second catapult moving in here. And Start Slow, then Taper Off is starting to shark around. With some kills and with some good pressure onto that keep, this could be game if they stagger things out. And they've kind of got that constant threat of that top lane. As you see the scuffle here, someone is going to have to deal with those catapults moving into core. There's 2 of them right now. As the Immortal moves onto this keep. A big stun on TRL, a second stun from the Benediction on Uther. But she's going to be relatively fine. No one really looking at the stuns from Uther. As the keep is getting low, body check from the Garrosh, he throws the Anubret in, but doesn't find the stun on him. And like I said, there's a third catapult moving in here, a root and a stun onto Uther, who once again pops the Divine Shield on himself. Zul'jin continuing to throw those axes out. Core falling to 50% already. It looks like they're just going to focus that, and that is going to be game to the side of Start Slow, then Taper Off. We've got a series on our hands. GG's, and well played. We can take a look at some of these stats that we see. 4 deaths on the side of Start Slow to 9 on the side of ReGen. Only the frontliners going down. Decent chunk of damage coming out from Malfurion. 28,000, kind of on par with the Yrel, who's I'd say a rather damage-heavy bruiser, especially the way Zero Day likes to jump in and smack people around, getting value out of the broccoli build. Top damage for the game actually goes to the Li Ming, that kind of 46,000 in poke damage, that if it's not really concentrated on whoever's stunned, Malfurion's going to do a good job of clearing up, of healing up. 50,000 armor healing coming up from the Uther, whose healing can be a little lower, but does get the armor value. But of course, we did see, if we look at the talents, that Grievous Axe talents ignoring armor. So let's head on back to our map screen. We will update the score this time, like a good caster. And we are going to see where we're going for map number 3. I can tell you now, it's going to be Garden of Terror, because Zero Day Attack accidentally messaged me with the map pick. So we are getting into a lobby for Garden of Terror. It's going to be game 3, and it's going to be a winner-take-all. Is Start Slow going to say that map 1 was a fluke and that they are the team to beat in this Division B East? Or is ReGen Immortal going to say, no, we've got the same score as you, and we can prove to you that we are the better team? Of course, what I really care about is the teams entertaining all of us. And of course, as we're loading into this map, just a couple more shout-outs to Gimme More Cosplay and Calkin for the follows. Thanks. I appreciate the support as I'm continuing to stumble through this whole casting thing. I'm also going to figure out how to make my chat less mean to my viewers. I guess I have to do that on Nightbot, not on Twitch. I'm not what you'd call the most technologically savvy individual. Okay. I think Nightbot is going to be better behaved now. I'm not sure if that applies from now like from this stream or from whenever I next start it up. So if Nightbot yells at you, reconsider your choices in life. That's mostly directed at Chauncey. As I mentioned, we are getting into a lobby for Garden of Terror. I'm just going to let them know that I am ready to go, and I'm excited to see Game 3. As I mentioned in the beginning, this was the test. It looks like Moore is able to spam all caps now, and that is what this is all about. Moore being able to spam all caps. Garden of Terror is the last kind of big map left in the pool after the teams banned out a lot of those macro-heavy maps. So it'll be interesting to see if globals are going to play a part in this map, or if teams are going to focus on making sure they've got really good camp clear. Maybe we see some gray mains. I think the members of Start Slow might play gray main. I might have seen that in an uncasted match that they played this week against a little team called ICC TBD. So it'll be interesting to see what they want to pull out here. And we've got both teams ready, so we should be moving into our Garden of Terror draft soon. Here we go. Moving into Garden of Terror, it is all tied up and it is all out on the line on Garden of Terror. And the first pick is going to go over to the side of ReGen Immortal. So Start Slow picked this map, so they've probably got a plan. More cheering for neither team to get a 2-0 because it's not the only thing that keeps her team in first. What keeps her team in first is them playing very well this season. But it does keep her team in first if it's not a 2-0. So, I get that. I respect it. Let's see if we have any switch up on the bans, or the ban order going into this game. Anduin, once again, the first ban from the side of ReGen Immortal. They don't want anything messing up any combos that they're trying to throw. And we'll see if Start Slow, and they do. They stick with the Stukov ban. And another Johanna ban from the side of ReGen Immortal. Interestingly enough, we saw that when they had first pick last time, they picked up the Johanna. So they're saying that they don't want that this time. And let's see what the final ban from the side of Start Slow is going to be. And it's once again going to be the Junkrat, so another hero that can poke and stall the objective on this map, particularly, which means if the team is getting value somewhere else on the map, Junkrat can just take their time. And this time, Kurama is going to pick up the right wing for the side of ReGen Immortal, denying it from Start Slow, then Taper Off, who did pick it up pretty early on Infernal Shrines, I think, in their 1-2 pick alongside Blaze. So we'll see what the response is going to be from Start Slow, then Taper Off as they take their first 2 picks here. And they're going to pick up the Blaze in the new rack. We did see that combo in the first game, the kind of consistent stuns, the layering of the CC from Xenochrist and Zero Day Attack was strong for them. And a Falstad and Diablo are coming out from the side of ReGen Immortal. I like this. Falstad can play the map and participate in team fights to varying degrees, and Diablo is a tough tank to kill, especially when paired with the Brightwing. I think Brightwing's one of the better healers to pair with him. As we move into the ban phase, I wonder what ReGen Immortal is going to ban out to keep the Diablo safe. As we see the third global, or the third useful global, Dahaka being banned out by the side of Start Slow. Deathwing and ETC can be global, but they're not really useful globals. And Tychus is going to be the ban, so they're going to keep Diablo safe from that percentage damage, at least the percentage damage that comes out from Tychus. Of course, other heroes get it, but Tychus is really known as the tank killer. Next two picks from the side of Start Slow. Are they going to pick up their damage? Are they going to pick up a healer and kind of be able to flex that last damage pick? I wonder what it's going to be. Orphea once again to take advantage of the slows, the stuns, and then a Malfurion to just add some additional lockdown. I'm a Malfurion believer, so I like that. I like seeing the hero. I think every team should play Malfurion, especially in Division B East. And they are going to pick up the Greymane and a Ragnaros, so there's going to be a lot of map presence from the side of ReGen Immortal. They're going to have potential for Lava Wave. They're going to have Greymane to just whack at the camps, and then whatever lane isn't being pushed by a camp or a Lava Wave, Falstad can be in pushing, and he can just kind of zip out to whatever team fight he needs to get to or whatever objective he needs to join. And the final pick from Start Slow and Taper Off is going to be the Zul'jin. It was a good pick for them last game. It did a lot of work. You saw him constantly chunking out the Garrosh, so I wonder if he's going to be able to have a similar impact on a little bit less of a front line. They don't necessarily have two big beefy frontliners in the form of like a traditional bruiser, but they do have Diablo, who is going to have to walk up to get stuns in. So we are going to be moving into our game number 3 here in Division B East between ReGen Immortal and Start Slow, then Taper Off.
The battle begins shortly, heroes.
Oops. All right, we are in game number 3. We have Kurama playing the Brightwing for the side of ReGen Immortal, Gingimex on the Ragnaros, Erekir on the Greymane, Rift playing Falstad, and Diablo being played by Austin. And then on the side of Start Slow, then Taper Off, we have Zero Day Attack reprising his role on Blaze, Arlu once again on the Malfurion, Fenrir playing Orphea, Real Big Dill playing Zul'jin, and Xenochrist once again on the Anubarak. So we're going to see teams move into this mid lane here, and it actually looks like the side of ReGen Immortal is going to kind of split to lane, so they're going to have Ragnaros in the top and Falstad in the bottom. They're a team that's going to play the map a little bit more than Start Slow, but if Start Slow is able to catch them out and get some kills, they should have enough of an advantage to keep the game under their control. And now with the first waves cleared out, we're going to see the side of Start Slow starting to move. We have 4 members headed towards the bot lane and Blaze towards the top. As ReGen Immortal sort of floats around with this 4-3 that does have potential to look for kills. Falstad being pretty chill back here, going into that auto attack build, so that's going to be kind of additional map presence for him. And it can also give him pretty good pressure onto the frontliners at level 13. I think it's kind of an underrated percent damage talent. We do see Diablo getting pressured. The Z has to come out from Brightwing, and the Anubarak is going to walk onto the Greymane. as these four members are really working together to try and keep the team split. And Uberak going into the Greymane, but now he's a little bit far from his team as Diablo walks in. Now Varian going to drop the root on the camp spot as he's going to go down to the Greymane. Are they able to trade out for the Diablo or not? Or are they able to secure the camp as Xeno tries kind of has to leave it there? I don't know if it was, I think going on the Greymane there was a bit of an overstep. We did see that in game one as well. Those oversteps can be dangerous for the side of Start Slow.
Just in time for the seeds of my vengeance to sprout.
First objective coming up, it's on the side of ReGen Immortal, and Greymane is going to continue working those camps. Something that Start Slow hasn't been able to do yet. Sorry. Because Blaze has been kind of double soaking against the Ragnaros, and the team went for the invade, which was a bit of a drawn-out fight there.
First seed is routed. Gather it, would you? I would so.
Seed coming up as the team looks to go onto Diablo. Not a ton of huge damage to pressure the Diablo as Lightning comes in once again. You can see presses the cleanse, and Diablo is able to scoot out of there with the help of Piranha. 5 members here for the side of Start Slow, then taper off as Ragnaros is slowly rotating in. We might see a fight over this objective. Neither team does a ton of poke onto the objective. I think Blaze can actually poke pretty well. But Start Slow and taper off is going to be able to not quite get the objective because Halstead comes in with a hammerang. Diablo once again taking a lot of damage, and it's going to go down this time before the seed can go off. 1 kill to 1, about a third of a level advantage over the side of ReGen Immortal, but Start Slow and taper off is going to claim the first tribute. They're really moving together as this unit of 4, which is giving them pressure in the fights as long as they don't overstep. But as you can see, ReGen Immortal has been working the camps on their side, and they have it on the side of Start Slow and taper off. I thought Greymane was about to sneak away to work on Start Slow's camps, but he's just coming up here to harass the Blaze as we see a good amount of pressure in his bottom lane. Greymane pressuring this wall and kind of doing matching structure damage, which I think is why there's some pressure from the side of Start Slow to do damage to this board. As Blaze does catch the Greymane here, has him slowed. He's got the auto attack speed slow. But it looks like Greymane should be able to get away, particularly with the help of Brightwing. Now it's Blaze who's almost the one in trouble. And we see continued pressure onto the support, especially now that Brightwing had to leave. A stun comes out of the call stack with Diablo pushing Uberak away, and Uberak's probably going to go down from the support as Ragnaros does Molten Core up to save that. Every time I go to Itchman face, and it looks like we have a DC on the side of Start Slow, so I am going to just bring us back to our map draft screen so that no one can see where anyone's gone on the map. Oh, and as Oppie points out, Orphea did get the level 1 quest again, so that's going to help her with the damage. We did see her damage kind of spike up when that happened last game, so that's good to see, and could provide some support. I'm really going to need to work on my mouse game. no updates on this disconnect that's happened. Hopefully we can get our teams back in there soon. They do have that pause time that they can use. Not sure how long this pause could last, so I appreciate everyone's everyone's patience as the pause goes on, and hope everyone's having a good night. All right, we do see a ready coming out from the side of Start Slow, who had the pause, so hopefully we're moving back into this game in short order. And we are back into this game with the second seed coming up, and Greymane and Brightwing working on it, but Blaze not quite finding the interrupt onto Brightwing. And here we see Start Slow finally starting to take a look at some of these camps, so that's helpful for them as level 10 is fast approaching for the side of ReGen Immortal. Interesting adaptation from the fall stat. We see the auto attack level 1, but we see the boomerang on level 7, which you kind of typically see with the Q build, and then they are going to bring down that fort on the side of Start Slow, and Dragonus is getting very low. He does go down to the Zul'jin. So another kill to the side of Start Slow, and right before level 10. Anubarak is sharking kind of aggressively here. I don't necessarily know about that, given they don't have level 10 yet, and the other team is about to. They are able to steal away that camp, which is going to give them a little bit more progress. So kind of starting to pick up their game on the macro, which is helpful, using their team fight to just bully the other team off of points. Level 10 talents coming in now for both teams. On the side of ReGen Immortal, we have the Blink Heal from Brightwing, Lava Wave from Ragnaros, Greymane holding, as of now, the Mighty Gust from Falstad and Apocalypse from Diablo. Greymane does go into the First Bullet, so just looking to drill down that front line. Next seed coming up, this one's going to be pretty squarely on the side of Start Slow, who's got some good push on that bottom lane. As Ragnaros does Lava Wave the top lane. And level 10's on the side of Start Slow. We see the bunker drop from Blaze. Twilight Dream from Malfurion this time, so maybe he's a little bit worried about the aggressiveness of the Diablo, Greymane, and Brightwing, who can all kind of be in on them at once. The Crushing Jaws from Orphea, Taz Dingo from Zul'jin, and Cocoon from Anubarak. And teams are going to kind of fight over this camp. Start Slow, able to get there fast enough despite still picking up that objective. Greymane actually goes into Worgen Swan onto the Needle so that he can get away, and the Gust comes out to kind of stop the aggression. As Malfurion does find a sleep root, there's not going to be any other damage coming from the side. Although the teams are kind of continuing to scuffle. They do have a siege camp here to kind of clean up. The Ragnaros lava wave kind of helped that move into the keep wall here. As the next objective does spawn, there is pressure for Start Slow and Taper Off to fight for this, as this would be the Garden Terrors coming down for the side of ReGen Immortal. As you see them start working on it, Start Slow is coming in. Suljin getting the axes going. Little garden buddies are cleared, and the damage coming out. Apocalypse comes out right after Blaze goes in on that backline. Falstad has the gust out. Ubrak goes in as the gust comes out. Right wing Z's on. Ubrak doesn't get some health soon as Blaze gets the channel, so it's time for Start Slow to walk away. Another pretty good fight from them as we see continuing to go back to lane management. We see the pair up here doing a little bit of pushing while they can. Suljin, probably their best option for siege damage. She hasn't gone for the Grievous Axe build this time. That's kind of a battlefield of eternity special, or maybe something when you need to have stronger earlier game. Ragnarok's going to lava wave out to help relieve some of the pressure. A root does come out onto Diablo, and so does the Silence from Malfurion. If that had gotten Brightwing as she Z'd in, I think they may have been able to go for the kill. She wouldn't have been able to blink out. But we do see the teams walking away. A lot of buttons have been used.
A seed has sprouted. Best not fight over it.
Another seed has come up, and this is one where I expect a bit of a scuffle as both of these teams want to have Garden Terrors coming down the lane, but regardless, we will see those coming out by the end of this objective phase. Blaze finds his gun onto Diablo while Anubrak is here kind of on the backline. Greywing gets put to sleep and Falstad gets cocooned. The Anubrak does go down to the Greymane Chase, but will they be able to trade the Diablo? They do. They get his souls out, so they'll be right back. But Orphea is also going to go down. That's a lot of their burst damage. If Orphea were still alive, this route would be a lot scarier. Those Suljin is whacking away. 3 to 4 with Suljin getting a little low, but it looks like the side of ReGen is backing up a little bit, probably just waiting for Diablo to come back. He's a little bit squishier without the souls, but they do have 5 members to the 3 of Start Slow, who's hopefully going to poke this out with the Blaze, and Suljin could be getting caught here. The root is going to stop anyone from coming in, but it looks like Blaze is playing with fire. To stop the channel from Falstad as the members of Start Slow are back. Arlu doing his best to kind of pop up Suljin. A 0-day attack is still taking damage. Gets back in his bunker for a little while. The Silence comes out from Malfurion. This has been a long fight. Greymane kind of low. The Cocoon is back up if they want to get rid of one hero and look to fight, and the lava wave has come back up. I think it was at about 80 seconds when this objective phase came up. So playing the long game isn't super favorable for Start Slow here. As a stun comes out onto Diablo, he's going to be slept by the Malfurion root. Let's see if they can get him. No souls reset this time. Falstad is also taking a good chunk of damage. Curse Bullet comes out from Greymane. Now we have a 5v4. But the members of Start Slow to take her off are getting a little bit low. Stun comes out onto Greymane. Orphea damage does not connect. Suljin is continuing to just throw those axes out. Team backing away a little bit. They've got 15 seconds before Diablo comes up. I think they just wanted to clear out the wave where the lava wave had, the lane where the lava wave had gone down. Falstad sitting in that bush to interrupt Arlu as he gets closer, but he doesn't find it. Another little bit of a misstep on not having the secret weapon at level 7. It synergizes with the auto attack talent better, and it gives you increased range, so we would have actually found the interrupt there. A pretty big bot lane push for the side of Start Slow. They're going to focus in on this mid lane. The top lane is a little bit too pushed for them. They see a lot of damage coming out under the Diablo, and the Silence does catch the Brightwing this time, but the Fort has been turned back on. The Garden Terror isn't turning that off anymore, so they're taking a little bit too much damage. Mid Fort does go down Curious to see if Start Slow wants to continue to pressure here. Ragnaros does have the Molten Core, so he's going to go into that keep. Just do a little bit more clearing out here to prevent any damage coming off the keep. I don't know if it was necessarily at risk, but it did help them. Zul'jin using the movement speed from the level 13 to escape Diablo. A lot of damage coming out of Diablo as he does come out, and Orphea is going to be the one going down there. Greymane having the basic attack range at level 7, super helpful. You know, the first Garden Terrors may have come out for the side of Start Slow to Taper Off, but they didn't have their level 16s there. So the fight got a little bit scary. They do have level 16 coming in now. But they did lose 2 because of that, and Anub'arak could be a little bit caught out here. He's going to be fine. He's going to burrow over the wall and be just fine. Really good stack from the Zul'jin. I don't think he actually finished this last game. Again, not necessarily the goal. We got the Q build that's going to be really focused on hitting the Immortal and using the Armor Shred on Garrosh. But once again, a big stun coming out from Blaze. Is there a route from the Malfurion to drop underneath it and kind of second? Oh, it's going to go in the back there, and they're going to find Kurama. And they might be able to find the Diablo as well? No, the Gust is going to keep him safe. So another good kill for the side of Start Slow and Taper Off. As they also find that camp. The stun does come out onto Ragnaros, a second stun underneath it, and the Orphea damage along with the Zul'jin is going to be a little bit too much for him. Ragnaros does not have the biggest hit point pool. He does really excel at helping to control the map, but he doesn't really excel at having a big hit point pool. And it looks like Blaze is probably just waiting for another Q to knock down this building, and there it is with the rest of the team. It's going to be pressuring onto this keep a little bit. Zul'jin nice and stacked, doing good damage to that keep now. And Blaze is going to go for that top camp. I think they just want to continue to have pressure onto that top lane, and with those 2 kills, they're going to find the keep, which is good. Hopefully they can move onto this seed and stop the Garden Terrors from the side of ReGen Immortal from coming down.
Gather that seed for me.
Arlu getting the channel. Ragnaros has the lava wave in a couple of seconds, and they're going to move onto this Bruiser camp on the side of Start Slow. Clearing out of lanes by the side of ReGen Immortal right now. They're going to be moving a little bit more as a unit, especially as they approach level 20. This is going to be fine because Ragnaros is going to be able to handle the lanes from anywhere. Start Slow then Taper Off is moving in on this. Retreat pings coming out, I'd imagine, from the side of ReGen Immortal. They have been struggling a little bit in the fights later in the game with the Blaze and the Anub'arak together. You do see the lava wave coming out from Ragnaros, kind of continuing to keep those lanes managed and this unit really moving together still. As Start Slow moves away from the seed and looks here, they find the stunner from Ragnaros, the crushing drop from Orphea finds the breeze. Brightwing does get the cleanse. And the Gust from Falstad is gonna keep him safe. Greymane in the Cocoon. Orphea finds a lot of damage, and the Silence from Malfurion with a root finds the Falstad from Ragnaros. This is scary for the side of ReGen Immortal, who needs the Ragnaros to be up because he's their kind of defense from these pushes. Damage coming out onto Zul'jin, but he's gonna use the Green Talon that has the name to heal up a little bit. As they find this bottom keep. Start Slow and Taper Off has taken the lead in kills now as they move on to this Bruiser camp. And that's going to be important for them. These longer death timers are going to keep, especially Ragnaros, out of the game a little bit longer as they pick up their second tribute, and we're going to see probably another one of those 2-2 fights. As we have level 20s in for both teams, we have the Fairy Protector from the side of Brightwing, which is going to just give the whole team spell armor. That can be a really useful talent into Orphea, who's been doing a lot of damage. And Anub'arak engages onto the Diablo, follow-up stun from Blaze. Diablo uses the Hellgate to get out, and Falstad uses the Wind Tunnel. So they did use some big tools. The Hellgate cooldown is 100 seconds, and the second lava wave is from Ragnaros with a big stun from the Orphea. Finds the perfect timing of the Raccoon and Greymane goes down. Nubrak finds 2 more stuns. They're looking for the full set here. They're looking for Karama, and it looks like this could be game to the side of the start slow, then taper off. These teams have had a lot of back and forth and bonking into the gate there. As Nubrak goes for another burrow, causing both off and whacking on Diablo as this core is going to go down. GG's and well played to both teams. This was certainly a fun series. Alright, as we take a look at some stats, let's see if we can get a chance to talk to any of the members of Start Slow, then Taper Off. And I'm joined by Zero Day Attack. Zero Day, how you feeling?
Well, feeling pretty good after that one. It was
Pretty
tight.
good. Yeah, those were some really well matched up games. I was pointing out at the beginning there, that you were seeded 3rd right now in the division, and they were seeded 4th. So it was a pretty close one.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it. I knew it was going to be a big one when I saw some of the highlights from their games, and yeah, they're looking pretty good this season.
Yeah, they are. They've done pretty well. So we started out that series on Infernal Shrines, and that was a tougher game. It was pretty back and forth. Where do you think things started to go south on that one?
Well, I'm trying to think what we had for a draft there.
It was the Blaze Anubarak, Brightwing, Jaina, Vala.
That's right. You know, that I felt like we had a great draft when we started that game, but their draft was also pretty fantastic for the map too. I mean, having the Tychus, he's always great on that map, and he did fantastic. I mean, being able to shut us down as soon as we dive in on them. Joanna's always good against us too, so she's just a fantastic tank the way it is.
Yeah, interestingly enough, that got banned out by ReGen Immortal afterwards.
Yeah, I saw that game 3. I was surprised to see that ban. That saved us a ban.
That's always nice. So you moved from that Infernal Shrine. So you think it was the draft that was the major problem for you?
You know, it's hard to say. I think they just outplayed us there. I'm not sure exactly if it was a draft or not, but I mean, I just feel like they just played a lot better than us that game.
Definitely happens. And so you moved into game 2 on Battlefield, where you pulled out Urel that was just constantly harassing the other team's backline. How did that game feel?
That one felt a lot better. It's always nice. I always like playing Urel on Battlefield. It's just, especially when there's like a Li Ming, making it hard for her to be able to just poke out the objective it always makes it easier for us. Lets the rest of the team focus on killing their front line.
Yeah, it felt like you spent more time on the other team's side of the field than your own, and most of the time you weren't too punished for it.
Yeah, that's what I love about Urel. She's just very slippery and hard to kill unless they have. I guess I know the Uther, he was starting to stick back and stun me, which was causing some problems. But yeah, I was able to get out most of the time.
Yeah, what do you think really cinched it for you in that game? Was it the draft? I was pointing out that the Zul'jin, the Q talents, after 16, it felt like Garrosh couldn't play the game.
Yep, exactly. That's kind of what we're thinking too. Is he Dill's really good at remembering that. I always forget with Zul'jin that he has that talent, but he's really good at pointing that out that we should go Zul'jin and yeah, make just everything hard for Garrosh because he just completely ignores his armor. Plus I mean, Uther giving a bonus armor and that doesn't count for anything either at that point.
Negates that. And then game 3, you picked Garden of Terror. Is there any reason you wanted to go to Garden?
Mostly because I feel like we haven't played it a whole lot this season, and I just wanted some practice on it. I just want to kind of round out all the maps throughout the season.
Fair enough. And the other team went for a sort of map control heavy map with a Greymane to get camps, a Ragnaros to clear lanes, and Falstad to round it out with a global. You went for a more fighting focused team. What did you think about the 2 drafts in that game?
Yeah, we definitely recognize that they had the macro advantage there early on. So I pretty much just kept on saying we need to be invading camps. We can't let them get too much of an advantage on us. We have to try to get kills, and we really were kind of all over the place at the beginning there. We were just split focused and letting things go. I mean, we got a kill on the Diablo early on, but then they ended up getting the seed with the false side anyways. So we were just we weren't paying attention enough. But I think we really pulled it together at the end and really got our focus going, and we're able to do what we were trying to do and get the kills out.
Yeah, I pointed out that Blaze and Ubrak combo is pretty polished. I'd say, I've seen it from you guys for a while. It's pretty polished, pretty scary.
We did that once or twice.
So if you had to point out for this series who on your team was MVP, who would it be, without stroking any egos?
Well, whoever I choose is going to be wrong in their eyes. So, I gotta say, I feel like Fen was doing fantastic tonight. Fenrir.
Yeah, I mean, really putting out the damage.
Yep, I mean he got his stack, his E-Quest both
games, yeah.
Yep. So I mean that helped a lot getting our damage out, and he got some big combos out there too. So that really helped us get the win there.
For sure, he has some really good Orphea play and solid right wing play in the first game too. But that one started to go south towards the end. Any teams that you're looking forward to in the season, or any matchups that you're particularly excited or nervous about, as we're a couple weeks in now?
Well, my favorite team to play, we already played. We played you guys already, so.
Those were some games.
Oh yeah. No, not really. I guess it's gonna be just tough rest of the season. I think obviously there's a couple top seeded teams we haven't played yet, and it'll be interesting how those turn out.
For sure. And before I let you go, any shout outs?
Well, of course, shout out to you. Thank you for casting the game.
Yeah, my first solo cast, so there's some mistakes in
there. I'll make sure to watch it afterwards. Shout out to the team. They played great tonight, and look, we were able to pull out on top. And shout out to the other team too. They played really well and made us earn it tonight for sure.
Alrighty, and you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your season, and thanks for chatting.
Yep, thanks. Have a good one.
Alrighty, that was Zero Day Attack from Start Slow Then Taper Off, who took the series against ReGen Immortal in a 2-1 victory. They dropped game 1 and they came back in games 2 and 3 on some very different maps with some very similar drafts. Thank you all so much for being here and for chatting tonight. It was my first solo cast, so excited to see some friendly faces and some new faces around. And I'll look forward to seeing some of you again, I hope. Until then, have a good time.